So we'll continue with Game of Life, Ecstasy and Agony in the Journey to Infinity. Cell 2, Chima. The end is a stage of collection and storing. The human being, as he is today, has not only the trait of collecting and storing, but also promoted it in the name of savings for the rainy day. The person who has faith in God and confidence in himself will never hoard. Saints in all religions did not promote savings. Suppose it is saving for the rainy day, there is nothing wrong. The misfortune of it is the associated concept with it is greed. Instead of saving for the rainy day, you tend to hoard, and this is the lapse. Ants hoard. I'm not questioning the saving aspect of it. This savings aspect has got a tendency to get into mode of hoarding, which is detrimental for society and to spiritual development. How to come out of habit of hoarding? You can come out of every problem with determination, which is the only way. You recognize the problem and make a determination to come out of the problem. These two things, if it is not there, you will never come out of the problem, any problem for that matter. You can come out of the problem through sadhana. There are ways in the sadhana by which you can come out. One can come out through meditation, through A and B, or by Guru's blessings. These are the alternatives that we have. Most of it is by only determination. The only way out is by strictly adhering to sadhana and persevering in the path. Take, for example, people indulge in the stock exchange. Only when there is enough money with you, you can play in the stocks. People who do not have extra do not go into stocks. Suppose if you move around with those kind of people, the chances are you will go too. So in every determination, we have to add anukulasya sankalpa and pratikulasya varjana. That is, you must move with such people who are determined to get out of that, and you must avoid such people who tend to go in that direction. If you give reasons saying, why can't I go just one time? That is enough for you to slip. You slip and you never come back. Determination is the main problem. Performing acts of sharing and charity will not enable one to come out of it. It is the consequence of having come out of it. It is a change in behavior. Once I determine I will not hoard, then I will start giving. By giving, I will not come out. If that suggestion was to work, Marwadis who put so much money in Tirupati Hundi should all be not hoarding next day. The only reason they give money is to hoard and ask God to hoard. Anything to add, sir?
It's straightforward, and all these suggestions will be given by the trainers in the initial stages only, so that you can move to the upper plane of consciousness. And if these qualities are not reflected in the diary or the behavior, the trainer has to repeat these suggestions again and again till, the psyche of the Abhyasi accepts it. Because if the psyche doesn't accept it, the suggestion will not work.
Okay.
So probably the trainer has to make him understand that the mind will not get out of the contracted state unless it is willing to see the defect, and then he makes a determination to get out of the defect. If the defect is not felt as a defect at all, there will be no transformation possible. Even preceptor giving sittings, trainer giving sittings will not work at all. Unless you should be aware of the shortcoming in you, and then you should be willing to get out of it. By meditation itself, you'll be able to get out. If you don't get out, you tell the trainer, he will give appropriate suggestion, then you'll get out. So that's why, unless you have access to the Abhyasis diary about all these things, I mean, practical things, you will not know. I mean, I'm having peace and all that does not give the correct condition. How in day-to-day life, whether you're following the 10 commandments, when any deficiency is there, then only you will be able to assess the mental state of a person. Otherwise, mind goes into self-deception. It tries to project only the ideals, not the real state. We try to write in diaries, if you are not radically honest about what we want to achieve, we think we are in that, but that's the problem. So introspection skills have to be developed actually.
Yeah.
And finally, if you watch yourself, suppose we want to develop virtues like honesty, I mean, aparigraha, not holding, or ahimsa, not harming others in our thoughts. I mean, treating all people as brethren and treat them as such, and then be not revengeful, which is, having goodwill for everybody. These are very difficult things to, if you try, you will know that how difficult it is to get virtues. But if you surrender to God when the divinity starts flowering in your heart, then the virtues will come naturally. So a person who is practicing seriously will realize that it's not that easy to get virtues. So finally surrenders to God, and then the virtues will come as a result of grace of God. This is also kind of a, it's related to ego only, that me, mine, wealth is mine, property is mine. So it's not that easy that depending on the cultural factors, where you're born, where you're living, it varies from culture to culture, from region to region. All those things will. Some people are not attached to the money. Their value system in that particular culture will be different. So all those factors come into play. Okay, next cell will go.
Udumu. Udumu is
That no, Udumu is that. क्या बोलते सो Udum is that this thing which Abhijat, like Shivaji when he was conquering that fort, he sends that thing which goes and attaches itself, that's Udum Pattu bolte. That they climb the fort using that Hindi mein, I don't know what it's called.
It's Ghorpad, sir.
घोरपड़ी
हाँ घोरपड़ इंग्लिश में उसको क्या बोलते हैं कि once it's stuck to the wall, it will not give that grip.
okay. Chipkali.
Chipkali, हाँ chipkali. Yeah.
Okay. English में iguana लिखा है in the website.
Iguana है. Chipkali तो देवा iguana है.
Iguana, हाँ. It's got a vacuum or something. It will, that was used by the Tanaji to climb up that fort. Actually, it goes up. Those days kings used to rear these chipkalis to, overcome, climb the forts and all that. तेलुगु में उडुमु बोलते हैं, उडुमु पट्टू.
This animal has the characteristic of holding on to what it possesses. A person who acquires something tries to hold on to it firmly and never leaves it. At this stage, one develops attachment and there is an awareness of acquisition. Any threat to one's possessions by others is defended with enormous determination. The positive character of this stage is determination. Okay. So now we come to
Chapa is fish. Fish.
self-force chepa. This stage characterizes slippery nature. A person who is not able to defend his acquisitions, lapses, will slip out of the situation like a fish. This person will give excuses for all his lapses. He keeps escaping like a fish. If you ask why you earned this much money, he will be beating around the bush instead of giving a straight answer. What is our subject? It is materiality or versus spirituality. When it comes to materiality only, acquisition comes. By lapses alone, he collects money. Unless he would have done something not correct, he would not have acquired. For a person who is earning a normal salary, where is the question of acquisition? Such person will have acquisition of debt only. A person who acquires, when we ask as to how he acquired, he gives some reasons. My father in law gave it. If you ask someone, he slips like a fish. He will give excuses to slip away from the question. That is the day to day parlance. Giving all sorts of excuses for our acquisition and escaping, that is our thought. That is a state of mind. Which animal has such a tendency to escape? It is there in the fish. Actually, it is survival instinct here. It is not saving something and then wants to go away with what it has saved. It wants to live. So the subject is not telling a little. It is slippery nature trying to avoid and escape. If one is going to wrestling, he would apply castor oil all over his body. We can't catch him. There are such jokes. We can't hold him. Even if income tax department fellow comes also, he can't get him.
This is, sir is describing all the psychological states, which is common to wherever ego is there, wherever you feel you are separate from God and separate from the world. All these characteristics are found in normal all human beings. Some people who are, who embrace dharma, who want ethical living, those people will generally be free from these things. But they need not be spiritual also. There are so many people who are very honest, so many people who don't hold, but they need not be spiritual. They may not have any consciously, they may not be awakened to the presence of God. Okay.
So we'll go ahead. 5.
Tortoise. Tabelu is tortoise.
Color is tortoise. Okay. At this stage of development, a person learns to control his senses and does not behave disproportionately. He is capable of moving either on the earth or in water, an adjustment capacity to live in a settled way. This is elementary stage of Viveka, a stage of Indriya Nigraha. Till now, all the senses were let loose. This is a stage where there is control over limbs. The concept of yama and niyama have basis in this form of expression. The tortoise teaches us the discipline of asana, which demands that the senses are withdrawn. However, it is found that many people are happy doing the asanas and forget about the goal. For them, the asanas have become the goal itself. When a hunter comes, tortoise will pull in all its legs inside. The head is taken inside. It will be sitting like a stone. It is Indriya Nigraha. It is able to pull back the legs. This is why Kurmasana, tortoise seat, is suggested for sadhana also. Kurmasana is a good seat. Nowadays, no one is using it. Not sure why it is gone. For meditation, they use Kurmasana. It teaches you that you should control all your senses. You use deer skin, Krishna Jinam, also for that purpose only, to say that you should be as sattvic as that. Those who want to have Indriya Nigraha do this. The seat itself reminds you of the goal. To withdraw means the question may arise if it is like an ostrich or like a tortoise. The tortoise will be safe, whereas ostrich will die. A tortoise, when it is being hunted, the first reaction it has got is to withdraw all its limbs, and it survives like that. Similarly, here, to avoid bad company, the fellow who is trying to pull us out, when he would ask us to come somewhere or other such activities. In all those cases, we should be in a position to withdraw like a tortoise. The tortoise teaches us a lot of lessons. To our knowledge, the only big temple we have is Sri Kurmamu in Srikakulam.
That's why when we are all, whenever we sit in asana, the sitting in one and the same pose, uh, that automatically controls the mind. Because we close the eyes, the sight is sense organ of sight is controlled. Early morning, because nobody is waken up. Suppose you finish your meditation before dawn, even the birds also will not get wakened. So sound will not be there. So sense organ of sound is gone. The nose, I mean the olfaction and taste, anyway, we are not using them at the time of meditation. Touch only we interoception. That means we feel the heart beating or the breath, the heartbeat. So that sense of touch is only active during meditation among the sense organs. Motor organs, we will withdraw, or walking, we withdraw it. I mean the evacuation and reproduction organs, we are not, we already take bath, we finish our daily washroom and all that. So that is also not in use. Hands, we keep it together. And then throat, we make a decision not to talk. Not to talk means we make a decision not to create thoughts. So that is the control of the sense organ of speech actually. So when we are sitting determined that we'll not create thoughts other than the thought of the master. So we'll rest ourselves there. In that way, when there is no sensory input to irritate the mind, reacting to thoughts and stories will not happen. So asana is very important. And that it, sitting in a chair, I mean, doing that's not correct, because Babuji himself has made in the first commandment commentary, 2 pages he has written why asana is important. So this has to be, unless a person is physically totally unfit, then instead of not thinking about God is better than, but for people who are fit enough, they should try to sit in asana, because that's an important preliminary for gaining control over mind. Unless you control the sense organs and motor organs, how can you control your mind? And if you practice, automatically sense organs come under control. When Viveka comes in, then automatically so much of discipline will come into it.
Shall we go ahead?
Stiratvam. Stiratvam is stability. वो पिक्चर नहीं है क्या? It's the Game of Life का साइड में डाले तो the
हाँ.
pictorial representation is there.
Let me then just share the whole thing. So this is the picture here.
This is a caravan which goes in the desert, which is, the metaphor which Babuji uses, like a caravan is going and then dogs bark. The caravan continues to go. I mean, you'll not get down and try to, shoo away the dogs and all that. Barking dogs, let it bark, but the caravan doesn't stop. It carries on. So that's a metaphor Babuji uses regularly to explain to you how you should meditate. He says you should continue to meditate, not minding the barking of dogs. That means the thoughts which come, they will come and go. But if you try to stop meditation and try to pay attention to the thoughts, it is just like getting down from the caravan and take a stone and try to shoo away the dog. I mean, your journey towards the destination will stop. So that's a very famous analogy which he uses to telling us that we should not bother about the barking dogs. So the picture here shown, Stiratvam is stability in your, in meditation, being steady on the object of meditation and not minding the barking of the dogs. That's the thing here.
Yeah. So at this stage, the person is stable in all his dealings in spite of the obstacles encountered. The determination learned earlier in iguana stage, coupled with the control of senses acquired at tortoise stage, makes the person discriminative to some extent with discipline. It can also be termed as steadfastness in the purpose. Dogs might be barking, but the caravan will keep going. However much the dogs bark, they won't pay attention. When we do sadhana, we get ridiculed by some who say that all of a sudden he has become a jnani. He should not worry and move on. This ridicule starts at home. Why do we need steadiness in the path? So we are able to handle the ridicule. If we want to go satsang in the evening, they will say, it is not as if your God is going to feel sad if you do not go. Our response must be, yes, he will be sad and will cry if I don't go and leave. Even though a caravan is shown in the picture to depict this in the game of life, by identifying with stability, it basically helps one to come out of ridicule. Yeah. This is the common ridicule people we experience, right?
That image also helps us to master a technique of meditation by uh, uh, by continuing to meditate instead of getting distracted by the thoughts. Even though the thoughts will come to distract you, some thoughts they do not distract. Some thoughts are, if they're loaded with emotional energy, they can distract you. But at that time, you should probably you can repeat the prayer again and continue to rest your thought on the divine light like that.
Yeah.
Bhatu means
Duck.
a duck, yes.
Uh-huh. So, cell 7, Batu, duck. At this stage of development, a person's discriminative intelligence, which is developed at the spiritual stage of tortoise, gets refined. He learns to differentiate between purity and impurity, the way a duck differentiates between water from silt. If we want to understand the sense of discrimination, we need to know the behavior of a duck. It will take in everything through its mouth, but it will not take the dirt. It take in only water and worms. It has got discrimination. The discrimination of a swan is superfine. This is gross. Milk can't be differentiated without a meter. It is in zoology textbooks. The duck won't swallow dirt. It will only take in worms and water. The tortoise in the previous cell withdraws with a sense of discrimination due to the Praticulasya Varjanam. Here it is discriminative intelligence of superior variety. Here it knows what it wants and what it doesn't, whereas the tortoise has withdrawn limbs out of fear with any kind of sound. Viveka is getting refined, is the point to note here. So this is clear. We'll go ahead. So Makarmu is crocodile. A person who can move in two planes, namely earthly plane and the watery plane. The earthly plane denotes the basic needs and drives. The watery plane denotes feelings and attachments. The crocodile is more stable in watery plane. The crocodile is also symbolically denoted as sansara, depicting low type of sensualities. The story of Gajendra, the elephant king, goes like this. He, along with his queens, enters a lake and enjoys playing with them. This denotes the state of a person lost in lust and mirth in life. Badly disturbed by their noise, a crocodile living in the lake gets annoyed and catches the foot of Gajendra. Gajendra roars and tries to wriggle himself out of the clutches of the crocodile. Seeing his pitiable state, all his queens desert him to fend for himself. After a laborious struggle, the elephant cries to God for help, who intervenes to kill the crocodile. This legend is meant to tell the truth that in unfavorable circumstances, it is only God who helps. Anything to add?
It's a famous Gajendra Moksham story.
Coming to 9, Udutha, that is squirrel. This stage denotes a sense of service and discrimination. The squirrel here refers to an incident in Ramayana where it has served the master, though very insignificantly, and got blessings of Lord Rama. The act of service gets us into a state of belief. The elevation in the game to the stage of belief signifies this. When the Vanaras were building a bridge, a little squirrel climbed all over, rolled on the sand, and dipped in the sea, trying to deposit the sand from his back into the water and help in the construction of the bridge. Rama, delighted, picked up the squirrel and stroked it, and everyone can still see the imprint of Rama's three fingers in the three lines that are obvious on the back of every Indian squirrel. So there is a ladder here in the nine, and as it says, the service gets us into the state of belief. So it goes, I think, into the not two, I believe. 10. Japamu. If you do not get into a stage of service to the master early, then you must perform austerities and penances to come out of the clutches of sensuality. Japa does not mean growing a beard and sitting under a tree in a forest. Even what we do under our meditational practices is japa. As a matter of fact, we take the Hindu culture. If we take any temple town, there will be people in the veranda of the house doing japa. They will be doing Gayatri Mantra, Ram Japa, Tirumantra, and other such prayers. They are not going to the forest with a beard. That would be sannyasi logic. A person doing japa will be remembering God. There need not be a reason for it. We will call it jikr in Urdu, which is of two types. Japa done in the heart and japa is also done with uttering the name loudly. Japa is not restricted to Hinduism. Christians also use rosary beads. We see it in Islam also. If we want to come out of the clutches of sensuality, and if there is no assistance of pranahuti, if there were no point A and point B, we have no other option but to do japa. Then comes the question, how many times? Is it 1000, 1 lakh, or 108? There will be a count. If you do no service to God is what was done by the squirrel. If you don't do any service, then austerity and penance are inevitable. If you don't get into a state of service to Master early, as mentioned in the story of squirrel, then you will have to do severe practices of japa austerity. What is japamu? Japamu is part of austerity. What is austerity? We say austere practices. What does it mean? It means reduction of wants, practicing severe restraints on food. The main point is they are severe practices. Instead of eating two times, you eat only once. Stomach should not be full. Instead of being full, it should be half full. These are some of the austere practices. We observe fast on certain auspicious days. All these come under austerity, severely restricting the intake of food and other comforts. Sleeping on hard floors is another way of observing austerity. Sleeping less for a maximum of 5 to 6 hours. So that is the japamu or austerity. So the service to the master has been emphasized, and if we don't get into the service, then we have to do lot of austerity. Now, from austerity, we come to penance, tapamu.
ये पिक्चर में स्नेक्स एंड लैडर नहीं है क्या है?
No, when we play the game, na,
हाँ
it,
हाँ, then only it will come.
it will show the ladder. Right now, I am just kept the
Okay,
about the cells, so that's why.
okay.
Tapamu. If you do not get into a stage of service to the master early, then you must perform austerities and penances to come out of the clutches of sensuality. Tapamu is neither a person performing penance on one leg nor a pious person sitting in ashram. Both cannot be considered as tapamu. Tapamu is a meditation on something, it is actually meditation. Austerity word, if we need to exactly apply the right word, is tapamu. Japamu means meditation. Austerity and penance always comes together. We cannot differentiate both the words austerity and japamu. We do japamu. What is that we are doing? We are doing Ramachandra's japamu. In japamu, there is no heat producing element. Tapamu means it produces heat. There is no heat getting developed in japamu. The matter of tapamu is that it introduces heat. When the horses are whipped, naturally they are all work with full vigor against that. When we are trying when we are trying to control it, we may resist more. In that suppression, we may kill our efforts. So Japamo is all sattvic. In Tapamu, there is some element of Rajasic, but no element of Tamas. If perchance Tapamu is taken to the level of Tamas, then it is Asuric. We do in a Rajasic way with a kind of determination and discipline. So Japamu is meditation, where Tapamu is equal to austerity and penance. Tapasu means it should generate heat in the body. This must have been your experience too. When we do meditation for long hours, enormous heat gets generated from Muladhara. If we pursue further, this heat will be there up to head. In between Muladhara and head, it may not be showing up, except the vibrations at the heart. So is the case whoever practices meditation. It is customary, traditional to give milk or almond milk, badam milk, to reduce heat. Revered Babuji Maharaj used to take milk with almonds, and even Dr. KCV Garu too. If someone substitutes with almond, chocolate, glucose, it is not substitute for that. Our attitude is to substitute. If we follow as advised, it would be good instead of substitutions. Chyawanprash also can be taken along with milk. I don't take that. Heat will be there. Enormous heat will be there. The heat will be produced even in the eyes. So these are the practical experiences of the heat. Sure. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the experience, like suppose if you in the cold winter when you sit in meditation, you feel like putting on the fan because you see tapas means sense organs tend to go outside, indulge in sensual experiences, sensual phenomena. So in meditation, we withdraw the sense organs and then withdraw the mind which supports the sense organs, and mind itself we are resting on the divine light. So as per Babuji, meditation is the highest form of tapas. He must have written in Efficacy of Raj Yoga. So once you're doing tapas, the knots open up and then the heat is produced. Many people feel that their heat is rising. Very clearly, if everybody notices, they'll require a fan or AC when you sit in meditation, even in cold winters, because heat is generated in the body. So as per Babaji, tapas is the highest, meditation is the highest form of tapas. So you are withdrawing all your sense organs and trying to stay in the origin itself, origin with the Kshob itself, the divine light without luminosity, which is the subtlest reality, from where the mind has come, from where the sense organs have come. We are withdrawing all the energy and resting it. So this act of meditation generates heat actually.
Yes.
And that's what he says, that will also cause the unfolding of the knots, he says. And if there's a severe restlessness and, extreme sense of urgency and restlessness, which he talks in ways and means, then he says, your progress will be very fast. All the knots open up, he says. Especially if we read Silence Speaks, when he talks about one of the My Remembrance, My Master, there he talks about it, how it'll create great personalities. This restlessness will create great personalities, he says. Restless impatience to reach the goal if it is there, which he also talks in the Third Commandment commentary. Then knots will open up, and then there will no more be obstructions, actually. Your thinking about God will be natural, will be easy. You will be able to travel on the path very easily, because obstructions will simply get eliminated, actually.
So should we continue with the second row or should we?
We'll stop here. We have to watch ourselves whether all these conditions have come or not. We have to see past diaries, we have to watch, and if it has come. If it is not come, you have to report to your trainer. Then he will see that these things should come into your, should become your direct experience. It's not just theory. Yoga in Babuji's system, he is asking us to really feel, actually. Tradition mein we listen to the pravachan, we read Bhagavad Gita and all that. That is paroksha jnana, indirect knowledge. In yoga, we develop identity with the condition. That is aporoksha jnana, direct unmediated knowledge without thinking. And that is unshakable. That leads to transformation. So we have to watch whether those conditions like the tortoise or the, udumu determination, all those things have come in us or not. Whether sense of discrimination, pratikuli savarjanam, whether you are doing it or not. If you watch, you will realize that it's not that easy.
Yeah.
You will only progress if you got a clear idea about the goal and you have a serious determination to reach the goal, then these things will come. But if you do, as a matter of fact, it's very difficult. I mean, Arjuna says to Lord Krishna, mind is like a wind blowing. How can you stop the wind? How can mind be controlled? It's impossible, no, he says. And Lord Krishna agrees, yes, it's very difficult to control the mind, but abhyasa and vairagya, that means abhyasa is with a passion and with a enthusiasm, you do the practice of meditation as if your whole life depends upon it. Vairagya is pratikuli savarjanam. I mean, you give up things which are not conducive to help reach our goal. If you do that, then it is possible to control the mind. Then all these things would come very quickly in our system. So we'll
Any
next week.
questions? Because yeah, these are right? These are the practical.
Diaries should reflect these things. I mean, having calmness and those things will be ducking under that language. It's a mind is ego will be is extremely mischievous, and then it's much worse than the modern day politicians. It can easily take you down the garden path in a wrong direction totally, unless you measure and honestly analyze whether you got all these qualities or not. The diaries will not give you the correct state of mind. But when you talk to people, when your neighbors, when your wife and children observe you, they know whether you developed those qualities or not. You will not know because you will have a blind spot uh, for your own shortcomings. You will have a blind spot for us. I will not know my shortcomings, but other people will immediately sense my shortcomings. And if he's a good friend, he should he should point it out so that we can correct it. So the role of the trainer is like a good friend who is pointing out which is not visible to you. Because Sir was pointing out, he was one of the reasons for his unpopularity is that. Because even truth is painful now.
Yeah.
Because to discipline ourselves, initial stages, it's not pleasant. Later on, nectar will come, but initially it will be painful. Anybody else wants to comment about these things? Ours is a practical thing. We have to. Babuji's main thing is that I'll help you to realize your true divine nature, and then practically you have to go through these experiences. It should not be theoretical concepts in your mind. It should be an actual internal feeling, actually. Okay, if nothing else, we'll meet again.